guys. If you spend any time around my channel, you'll know that I love the KORG Trinity. It's getting close to 30 years old at this point, and people run into issues with the disk drive going bad, or the floppy that they had will no longer read several things, and they want to get the factory patches restored to the system. I've had several conversations with people online where they're having trouble getting the Sysex data to dump in. So I just wanted to make a quick video today and kind of walk you through the steps of getting that done. I will say it's a fairly easy process. It can be a little bit frustrating as you try to figure out the correct speeds to dump the Sysex data in, but overall it's very worthwhile. So one thing I will say is if you have data saved in your Trinity that you want to retain, make sure you dump all that out because it will overwrite anything you've got in there. So make sure that you save anything off you want to save. You can do that via dump from your global menu using the same setup that I've got now. You just need to dump out of the out port to the in port of the USB hub. So just kind of reverse what we're doing. You'd still use the same software as you're going to see in the demonstration here in a second. Anyway, I hope this video will be helpful to you. And if you have any questions or run into trouble, drop me a line and I will be glad to help you. Here we go. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do here is make the connections that we need to make for the Sysex dump. For this, I'm just using a standard 5-pin MIDI port, or I'm sorry, MIDI cable, and you're going to plug it into the in port on the back of the Trinity. Okay, and then we're going to plug it into the USB interface. Let me show you that. I happen to be using a Focusrite Scarlett, but several USB interfaces will have MIDI connections built in. So on mine, I'm attaching that same cable that I attached to the back of the Trinity is now attached in the out port on the back of the Focusrite. So that's the connection we need to make that gets our data from the computer into the Trinity. Okay, so to prepare the Trinity to receive the Sysex data, we're going to go to Global, and we need to go to page 2 in Global. And then we need to make sure that the Enable Exclusive is checked. So if your box is unchecked like that, the system will not let that data flow in. So we need to enable exclusive. And then I just like to leave it on the program screen so that in a few minutes I'll be able to see that the data is pouring in. Okay, so I use the Sysex Librarian, which is a free app for the Mac. So in the Librarian, you're going to select your device, whatever you're connected to up here. I just use USB MIDI device because that's my Focusrite. I'm going to choose whichever Sysex file I want to send. In this case, I'm going to load in some sounds I bought from LFO store. But again, anything that's formatted to go into that particular keyboard, you can use. I've got a few different Trinity banks here, so. But for now, I'll just set this one, and I'm just going to hit play. And once I hit play, then we'll see that being loaded in on the Trinity screen. So play here, and we'll see that it's sending message. And let's look at the Trinity. Okay, so the Trinity says now, dump program bank, now receiving MIDI data. So this can take a few minutes just depending on the size of the file, and it can also depend on the speed that you're transmitting out of your librarian, whether it's System Librarian or MIDI OX, whatever you're using. And be aware that this hardware in the Trinity and other similar age synthesizers can't process this data very quickly. So if you keep getting errors when you're trying to transmit Sysex, make sure you go in and check your speeds for transmitting and turn that down. It does make this file dump longer, but it will actually work. It probably took about maybe a minute and a half. I don't know if it was quite that long. Okay, so now what you'll see is that we still see the original patch name But what you'll see then is if I just value up, there is, and come back down to 0. Now it's showing the new patches. You can also power off and back on. It took me a long time to figure that out. The dump would finish, the little screen would go away, and then I would still be left with my initial patch, and I couldn't figure out why. So again, powering off or just toggling the program up and then back down will get you where you want to go. So now I don't know if the video will get that. It's not very loud. Okay, so as you can see, that's not a very complicated process. Just making sure you get the connections right with your MIDI cable, that you have appropriate software, and that you've got the right Sysex file. After that, it may be a little trial and error with your transmit speed, but it's a very straightforward process. Hopefully it goes well for you if you give it a shot. If you have any trouble with it, I'm always glad to help. Feel free to drop me a comment, shoot me an email on my About page, and I'll see what I can do to help you. Anyway, good luck if you undertake this project, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.